Hello. My topic is investigating the outcomes of applying flipped approach to learn English grammar among intermediate students. So, before starting, let's look for the definition of flipped approach. The flipped learning is an approach which is equal to the inverted learning, which means that students learn the main parts of the topic from the online videos, podcasts that are available on the internet platform. So it means that they are ready for the topic before they go to the lesson. What about the classroom time? They just work with each other, discussing their problems and practicing their knowledge. So, looking back to the history, this approach was actually started like the creation of it starts from 1990s, but it started gaining popularity only in 2000s. The people who spread it are known as Bergman and Sam. They were just the usual teachers of chemistry who were teaching in a rural area. As we know, in rural areas, students usually miss classes a lot. So because of this, the the class wasn't able to move on. There was always someone who was lacking in knowledge. So Bergman and Sam decided to solve this problem uh, like through recording themselves explaining the topic and sending them to the students who were not present at the lesson. So later, as this approach showed a lot of success, it started spreading among other teachers. The purpose of this research is now is the 21st century, and the technology and internet is developing like with the in a quick speed. So like every youth has a mobile gadget nowadays, and they usually spend a lot of time on it. So as flipped approach requires these tools that I mentioned before, the the purpose of conducting research, especially on this topic, comes from the excess usage of electronic gadgets and internet. So the research aim is find out whether we could get benefit from the continual usage of gadgets, and whether we could whether flipped approach would be able to be more beneficial in comparison to the non-flipped approach, which is just the traditional lesson. So the research questions are: is it true that the usage of flipped research might improve students' performance in grammar? And second, can we turn using technological devices and online platforms into the opportunity these days? The research significance, I think it's pretty clear that it's very important and difficult part of English is the grammar. So as David Wilkins said, without grammar, very little can be conveyed. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed, which I think means that it it plays an important role in language acquisition, and we have to emphasize it in put a lot of emphasis on learning grammar skills. Like as we know, in common traditional lessons, students usually find when the teacher explains the topic usually to be boring. So as a result, topic is usually not teachers are not able to cover the whole topic, and they usually have the lack of the time for practicing and discussing. The research participants are in this process the students of the Süleyman Demirel University from the Faculty of Education and Humanities. The third year students were engaged. So the level of these students was from intermediate and to higher, and the total of 15 students were engaged in this research process. The research method, as I've already said, there were 15 people. They were divided into two groups. One had lesson with the flipped approach, and the second one had the lesson with non-flipped method. So the research instruments were the survey, test, and interview. Like so, coming from to the stages ahead of starting the whole research process, the survey was taken from the participants. There were mostly questions about their perception of teachers teaching, the studying by themselves, the usage of the mobile phones, and overall things that were connected to the purpose of this research. And then the The lesson was conducted with the first group. Uh, During the lesson, teacher explained the topic and uh, then discussed the problems if they had. At the end of the lesson, they had the quick test according to the topic that they have studied. The same process was with the second group, but there was like a flipped approach where the students were set to watch a video that teacher has sent them. uh, After two lessons of this kind, the students were given to write an essay with the use of these topics that were covered on the previous lessons. And also, teacher had the speaking exercise with every student. Like the main aim was to find out whether how confident they are in the using this grammar topics and whether they understood it pretty well. And after this whole process, the teacher took an interview from the students that were in the flipped approach classroom. The questions were mainly about their opinions about the flipped approach. Uh, as you can see from the results, the both of the classroom students were have taken highest scores. There's just the slightest difference between them. During like the essay written by both of the classroom students and the speaking exercise were pretty good. They were confident enough to show that they can use this in their daily lives. And what about the interview with the students of flipped approach? Uh, some were some were like uh, some find it to be a really good idea, but while some found it to be not really useful for them. In conclusion, we could see from the students of flipped approach that like they liked the idea of studying because they found it to be way more comfortable and easier, because they were like open to the a lot of other sources except for the teacher. But as we know, in my research, the YouTube platform was used, and some students revealed that in the YouTube there is a recommendation bar where other kind of videos are recommended. So students revealed that sometimes uh, they just gave up on studying the lecture lesson and just uh, continued on watching some other videos that they found to be entertaining. So as we can as we can see that this approach, the flipped approach, is in the same level of effectiveness and the benefits of it, but the students are not ready for it. So in order to be able to get good results, I think it has to be added to the curriculum, to the studying program of the students, like in a slow pace. So like overall, it we can see that the flipped approach has a great influence on the students. So that's the end. Thank you for your attention.